So, you may or may not be aware of a new movie that recently released called Woman King and its subsequent controversy. Now, first off, I'm going to say that I myself did go and see this movie and enjoyed it. Definitely a lot better than I expected, and it turned out pretty well in my opinion. I had a few nitpicks here and there, but I can't really talk about that because, well, that's another subject. This isn't a review, and right now I'm addressing the controversy and say whether or not the criticism this movie is getting is valid. So when the trailer for this movie first released, there was an absolute uproar from white people, and some black people too, mainly concerning the glorification of a kingdom that participated in brutal aggression and slavery towards neighboring African peoples. Now, do I think white people are genuinely criticizing the movie because of the historical context? No, of course not. I think most of it just comes from a place of just taking the opportunity to bash black history for the sake of bashing black history. I doubt the majority of the people hating on this movie has ever even heard of the Kingdom of Dahomey before the trailer initially hit the web. But is the criticism valid? Well, let's briefly go over the historical context of this film and why it has a few people upset. Well, not a few, but the Kingdom of Dahomey was an African kingdom in West Africa, along the coast. It was once part of the Oil Empire, aka the film's main protagonist, before breaking off into an independent state due to the oil's extreme brutal rule. Dahomey began raiding villages and other states to capture and sell slaves to Europeans in exchange for goods. Dahomey also had an all-female elite unit in the military called the Egoje, which is the main focus of the movie. Now, obviously, Dahomey doesn't have a good case, and I'm aware of the disingenuous way that the system of slavery in Africa is commonly framed as, but in this case, it is unfortunately truly just barbarism and cruelty. By the way, if you aren't aware, African slavery in most of the continent wasn't chattel slavery and didn't involve cruelty and dehumanization. It was actually a punishment, typically befitting criminals, prisoners of war, and those in debt. I would go into full detail about this, but this isn't the video for that. It's a completely different subject, and besides, there are plenty of people that have already made videos discussing it. In fact, I'll link a video by Hometeam History, which does a good job of clarifying this disingenuous argument about African slavery. And I'll also link a video of his discussing the brutality of the Dahomey Kingdom. Now, when it comes to glorifying a civilization like this, criticism, it is indeed valid. Let's be honest. However, if I'm being completely honest, and I might get some hate for this, I personally don't mind glorification of a violent and cruel historical group or civilization as long as there is no censoring of history involved. I'd be a hypocrite if I told you not to watch this movie for glorifying Dahomey, being that I personally love the miniseries Shaka Zulu. In fact, I think it's one of the best miniseries of all time. Yes, Shaka Zulu was a brutal tyrant, but I'd be lying if I said the miniseries based on his life wasn't amazing. Now, going back to my point about censoring history. So long as said movie, game, book, show, etc. doesn't inaccurately portray historical events, individuals, or a civilization as something else to conceal its wrongdoings, I have no issue with glorifying it. A movie such as Full Metal Jacket depicts the struggles of young men drafted to fight the Vietnam War, but it also doesn't shy away from the brutal atrocities and war crimes committed against the Vietnamese people by U.S. forces. Whereas a movie such as The Patriot or Gods in General purposely manipulates history to make its characters seem more sympathetic and heroic, contrary to their real-world counterparts. And contrary to what a lot of people claim, this movie does in fact acknowledge that Dahomey practiced slavery. But what gets me is this blatant hypocrisy people seem to have in regards to the hate for this movie. Civilizations and groups such as Rome, Greece, the Vikings, and even early America were evil, brutal societies that enslaved, pillaged, and genocided countless. Yet there are many movies made about and glorifying them. There's even an ongoing show made about the Vikings, and it's very popular. So where are the hordes of people coming out to hate and tear down these movies? Well, those people happen to look like this, and these people look like this. So that kind of answers itself. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the trailer for Woman King, I naturally thought it very suspicious that of all the African kingdoms and empires they could have chosen, they went with Dahomey. It felt almost too obvious. And I'm personally not someone who commonly believes in coincidences in subjects like this. And some people may say, they chose Dahomey as a film for empowering black women, which I understand, but Dahomey definitely wasn't the only pre-colonial African state that had female warriors. And part of me still definitely thinks choosing Dahomey was intentionally done because of the historical context. But anyway, in conclusion, should we as black people go and support Woman King? You know what? This is one of those things that I think falls more so in line with the individual. It's more so something for you to decide. If you think we shouldn't embrace this movie, then don't go watch it. And if you do, then go and watch it. And that's all I have to say for now. Stay wise and decolonize, family. I'm out.